here with, of course, the lovely Nick.
Hi.
Some of you guys might not have met Nick, but he is my partner in crime on YouTube, and he is my guest host, co-host for On the Bench, and he's going to be joining us on here, and we're going to premiere it on YouTube too. I thought it'd be fun for you guys to experience On the Bench as well as on YouTube. Welcome everyone, and I hope you're okay. What are we going to talk about today, Nick?
What are we going to talk about today?
LGBTQA plus History Month.
There's an I in there as well.
There's no I in team. And of course...
But there is an LGBTQIA plus.
Indeed there is. And of course we're going to talk about your experiences, combat training, and what we got up to during the half-term holidays. Indeed. Right, let's just edit the camera. Right, let's get cracking, Nick. Don't worry, people can see you through the screen. That's just for our benefit.
Righto.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
I've got
let's
like
talk
half
about...
my face cut off here. You can't see it on that, but you know.
That's it, don't worry about that. Right, let's go, Nick.
Yes. So it's been February.
It is February, indeed it is. And it's the month we talked about. So tell us all about the History Month.
Well, it's LGBTQIA plus History Month is something that's been around for quite a few years now, looking at the pathways that came through to the strive towards equality for so many of these groups.
Indeed,
And it's still very much in the news at the moment. There's it's probably quite surprising when you consider that it's still illegal to be gay in 70 plus countries.
That's mad.
And it's punishable by the death penalty in over 10 of them.
That's mad.
And it's something that we just need to, and it's something that just needs to be stomped out. The difference between LGBTQIA plus History Month and Pride Month in June is where Pride is a lot more about events. This one is more about spreading education.
Okay, so that's interesting. I was going to ask you the difference. Thank you.
Yeah.
Nick.
So a lot of it is about looking at the history of the movement.
Okay.
So there's been lots. So Stonewall has been in the news recently as they've revealed a list of top employers for the LGBTQIA
that's interesting.
plus community, and Sky was in there. A friend of mine works there, and she's part of the LGBTQIA plus group that's there. They get involved in quite a lot of events and all sorts of those things like that. And of course the history of Stonewall is long and charted. It's been over 50 years now since the original protests at the end of the 60s.
It's not something I've recently heard of, like the last 10 minutes, like the last 10 years, really. And it's quite interesting how Stonewall's changed for the good, but not many people really know about it, do they?
Yeah, I think a lot of people kind of see it as a very narrow thing. But of course, it's not just kind of like childish name calling and things like that. Some people are, some people are, when you see instances like what's going on in Poland with LGBT free zones, and I think there's been instance in Hungary as well, and of course, Russia is in the news at the moment, and well, the less said about Vladimir Putin, the better.
That's it. So that sort of thing with a good history month and a good education of what that different communities and things like that can do to help each other is great, isn't it? That's interesting.
Indeed.
So what do you think ultimately? For me, I've never heard of this event before. So is this a new event that they've just brought in? Or has it been a while? The concept of the History
Month has been around for a long time.
Oh yeah, for this particular LGBTQIA movement,
I think the whole of kind of like recognizing workplaces striving to be more inclusive. That's something that we need to it's something that we need to include more of, and it's not just for LGBTQIA.
Of course not. It's for everyone, isn't it?
It's also February. There's also been a lot of Black History issues as well.
That's it. Yeah.
And there's a lot to work towards there as well. Breaking down stereotypes and things like that. This week is actually Aromantic Awareness Week.
Oh, okay.
It's always the week after Valentine's Day, isn't it? As an aromantic person myself, that's something that it's something that I've taken interest in. I mean, I only really found out about aromanticism, and it's not experiencing a lot of romantic attraction, because there's a bit of a difference between sexual attraction and romantic attraction.
Oh, okay.
You know, and as someone who's never really experienced a lot of it, you know, it's just and you know, I remember finding out about it, and I mean, you know, I think for me it was especially difficult because being autistic, I grew up with very poor social skills.
Oh, yes.
And you know, I found that kind of like and a lot of the time I just didn't find myself kind of like attracted to, you know, being in a relationship, you know, and a lot of that is down to aromanticism. You know, and for a long time I was really kind of like confused about my own sexuality, but I can kind of see myself now as aromantic and bi.
Oh, interesting.
So that's kind of how I look at it. I experience very little romantic attraction. I don't experience a great deal of sexual attraction, you know. And really, I think, you know, we've started to look at you know, at sexual orientation as much more of a spectrum rather than just what specific things that people fit into.
So, do you think like the History Month and of course Pride has helped that then?
Yes.
Excellent.
I think ultimately, I mean, I know in a lot of ways, I know a lot of people see it as like companies changing their brand logos to like the rainbow.
Well, we've been through this, haven't we?
We've been through this. I mean, ultimately, it's done with good intentions. You know, we don't want to take away from that.
No, definitely not.
But ultimately, you know, we need to see beyond that and start, you know, seeing good positive change, which I think is the
rather
most
than it
important
just
thing.
becoming a gimmick, which it potentially could. We need to move on quickly, my friend.
We do. So during half term, I mean, you went and watched checked out the Beano history.
Yes, we did. We went to the art of being a menace, pretty much, which was great fun, which was hilarious stuff. The art of breaking the rules was probably one of the best art conventions I've ever been to. It was probably, you know, it's like your childhood in a room and then being transported into a comic book land. It was fantastic. And it was one of these things where you think, oh, you know, it can't be that good, can it? When you walk in, it has the same colour scheme as the Beano. It has all the characters there. It's just got so much vibrant life to it. And you can have a walk around tour, you can talk to people, you can experience interactive things, you can see the very first ever Beano, you can see all the old comic books. It's just a wonder to go there, so I really loved it. Yeah,
excellent.
And I also went to Legoland, which was Badger Jr.'s first ever trip to Legoland. That was madness. It was really fun. I thoroughly enjoyed going to Legoland with him, and he, you know, there's so much love there, and he was so happy. He's been wanting to go since he was a baby, so this is like a real dream field trip.
Excellent.
And we went antique shopping, went to see Spider-Man again. We did loads of stuff. It was a really good week, yeah.
Excellent.
So what about you, Nick? You're going to talk about your experiences with sword fighting.
I went to an introduction to stage combat class.
Ooh.
So we used swords, not real swords.
No, of course not.
And we kind of used the whole technique of doing that, but also making it look dramatic on set. Because normally, if someone was challenging a sword fight with me, I would go that and then run away as fast as I possibly can.
Of course you would.
But of course, what you've got to do is you've got to do it, but also make it look dramatic. You know, you've got to sell the drama side as well.
That's right.
So we did a little bit with swords. We did a little bit with knives, and we did a little bit of unarmed combat as well.
Okay.
Which is basically showing how you can do a violent altercation without actually hurting each other.
Oh.
So it involves pushing, and it also involves slapping. And there's a very specific way that you can do it, and it involves standing slightly further apart than it looks, and the other person has to participate as well with
clapping. Indeed.
Yeah. So it's so whenever you see like slaps and things like that, that's how it's done.
Ooh. Hey Ratsy, how you going, mate?
Hello, Death Rats.
Don't worry, this will be premiered on YouTube too, and we'll be able to have a proper chat then as well. What next are we going to talk about, Nick?
what are we going to talk about next?
We are going to talk about the fact that Madonna is now kicking the butt.
I need to look this up. Let's get a live reaction.
Yeah, go on then. Yeah, look it up. But yeah, Madonna has now taken photos of herself on a stair lift and basically said, screw the haters, I'm not growing old gracefully. She's 65 and good on her. She is kicking butt. She's loving life and enjoying having fun with her celebrity status even still. So she is absolutely loving it. It's so good to see it, and it's really refreshing and it's really interesting. I don't know what your take on it is, Rats, but I tell you what, it's so much fun. And she's also done some other photos of her saying, you know, screw you guys. She absolutely loves it, and it's really interesting to see how that goes. What do you think, Nick? Have you seen it yet?
I'm waiting for it to load.
Are you waiting for it to load? Okay. But yes, stair lift. Ah! Yes, indeed. But yeah, it's such a fun, interesting situation what they're doing with it. It really is. And I think she has done so much for culture and interesting things in the 80s and 90s and the 2000s. You know, let her enjoy and have fun and kick butt. You know, the amount of times that people ridicule her, but they love her music. I think it's great that she's able to stay in the limelight and have celebrity status still. I think it's great. You want to look up images, mate?
Right, let's press.
Indeed, yeah. See, we do things on the fly here.
There we go.
There we go, yeah. So what do you think of that then, Nick? Yeah, she looks younger than ever, doesn't she?
Yeah, she definitely doesn't. She definitely doesn't look 63.
That's it, yeah. So what do you make of that, Nick? Do you think that she's in the right to do that, or do you think that she's in the wrong?
She's Madonna.
That's exactly what I was saying.
It's worth pointing out that Madonna, you know, Madonna has always been always been a big advocate for LGBTQIA+ rights.
That's right.
She's always been very supportive of that community, as well as you know, she was the sort of thing she was doing as a female performer when she first launched in the 80s. That was really something else.
Indeed, yeah. We won't go too much into that show.
It's easy to forget, you know, just how impactful that was.
Yes, very impactful, and I think that culturally we're still feeling that impact now. My personal phase of Madonna, my personal favourite was her goth phase. So it's going to be interesting to see what you guys think and what your favourite Madonna phase was.
She was one of my favourite singers when I was a kid, and I've still got like the Like a Prayer album.
Yes.
Which when you listen back to it, it's actually quite. It's got like lots of pop hits on it, but it's actually also quite experimental.
Okay.
You know, it's kind of like there's a lot of stuff there that you kind of wouldn't have thought would have been on like a pop album.
Okay.
That's quite an interesting one, and of course, you know, there was voguing.
That's it, voguing and all that
her
stuff.
Ray of Light phase when she came back with that. So yeah, I think that was probably my last favourite era of hers. A lot of her other stuff has been a little bit hit and miss, although tracks like Hung Up were really good.
I don't know that one. I have to look that one up.
Every little thing that you say, hung up.
That one, yeah.
That's a few years old now.
Yes.
So,
but it's going to be interesting.
You know, she's still out there, still doing stuff, and good for her.
Indeed, yeah. Rob, I hope you guys have enjoyed today's On The Bench. This has been a bit of an experimental episode, and we'll be posting this on Saturday on YouTube. And please do, of course, get in touch, have a good chat on the premiere. Me and Nick will be here. Well, hopefully you'll be. I'll be definitely here having an annoyance with people, and this will be on for you guys, and let's have a good old chinwag.
And if you're watching on YouTube right now, hi.
Indeed.
Hello from yesterday, or from the past.
Indeed. So thank you very much for everyone that supports Twitch and YouTube, and I hope you all enjoyed today's episode. We'll be planning things and sorting things out a bit more, and I will let you guys know in the comments and all that sort of stuff any new changes, and anything you guys want us to chat about ready for next time, let us know. See you all later. Bye. And thank you very much for watching. Ta-ra!
Like, share and subscribe and do all the things.
Indeed. Bye. Thanks for watching. Bye.